Hello fellow thrifters, my name is DaPaulo. Today's video I'm going to be going over the secret sauce to succeeding on eBay. Okay, we all know that there are a lot of different skills that you need to have in order to succeed. You need to have some basic technical savvy. You need to be able to know how to use a cell phone and a computer. You need to have basic business practices. You need to know about margins and numbers. You also have to be able to have a good inventory system. And that's something that you learn as you go. You start small, and as you start to expand and get bigger, you have to figure out different ways of creating your inventory. But the number one secret sauce to making a good living on eBay is your sourcing. Because the products that you buy are going to be what create the money. Now, when you start creating the money, then you need to, know different aspects of eBay. You need to be able to know about shipping. Those we're not going to focus on today. Today we're going to focus on the secret sauce to the sourcing. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to go over was the importance of being consistent. Now, when I say being consistent, I'm talking about going to stores on a regular basis. When I started, I would go on one day off, and I would load up with a whole bunch of stuff, and then that would be what I would list throughout the week. What I have found since those days is that I get better quality stuff when I go on a consistent basis. Now, I typically go about 4 days a week. I go Mondays, I go Tuesdays, I take Wednesdays off, and then I usually go Thursdays and Fridays. Now, a lot of times that coincides with me either dropping my kids off from school or picking my kids up from school. Whatever works best for me. But with the being consistent part, I've started to realize certain things that are incredibly important that I want to share with you. One is I've learned that my local thrift store that I go to on a regular basis, the Goodwill, does not have people that process items on Wednesdays. So I don't go on Wednesdays because they are not bringing out new products on Wednesdays. Their people in the back aren't even there. So there's no point in me going. What I've also come to realize is that the stores bring out products at certain times. I know that if I show up at 9 o'clock, I'm not going to be finding new products because they're not bringing them out yet. They start bringing them out at about 12 o'clock. Then they start bringing them out again around 3 o'clock. And then on certain days, they'll start bringing them out at 5 o'clock. So when you're consistent, you're going to start finding the newer items that are coming through the stores. Very, very important. Another aspect of your local thrift stores is knowing about the sales that they have. Sometimes they have a military or teacher discount. Sometimes they have student discounts. Sometimes they have weekend sales. Sometimes there's online sales that you're not aware of, online coupons that you can get. So when you're becoming acquainted with new stores, ask the employees if they have any sales. Real important. I went several months without realizing that there was a 20% off coupon that I could use every single time I went to my local Goodwill that I was missing out on. I literally let away hundreds of dollars that first year of thrifting because I wasn't aware of it. So be aware of sales. Okay, so number one in this video was be consistent. Go to your stores on a regular basis and learn about your stores. Be aware of what they do. Number two, secret sauce, very important, research. Now, in order to do good research, there's something that you need, and that is these things, smartphone. Have spoken with several different people that sell online. I have some friends of mine local that they do it all on their computers. And I have told them that they are really missing out. They tell me they can list about 5 things an hour. Okay, using a cell phone, I can list about 12 items an hour, up to 15 in some cases. But my son who works for me, he can list 8 to 10 items an hour very easily. But the thing that I'm that I'm talking about today with the cell phones is the research. Now, I've been doing this for 4 years, and every single time I go to a store, I'm still researching products. There's always new things to learn, all the time, every day. There's items that didn't sell a year ago that are selling now. There's items that sold for $100 a year ago that are barely getting $25 now. You have to do your research on a regular basis, on an everyday basis. So in order to do research, you need two things. You need a good cell phone, a good smartphone, and you need a good provider. Okay, I actually carry two phones because depending on where I'm at, one will work here, the other won't. The other one will work over here, the other one won't. You know, so know which providers work best in your area. If it's T-Mobile, if it's Sprint, if it's Verizon, they're all running off of different towers. So it's very important that you have the correct technology when you're doing the research. Another thing is I've got a Galaxy and I've also got an iPhone. They do different things. The eBay apps are different. So not necessarily necessary that you have, you know, the different types of phones, but it is important that you have a phone that has the best carrier available and the processor's fast. Very, very important. Another thing that kind of goes along with the research is be diverse when it comes to what you're looking for. When I started, I was mostly clothing, and I built that business up where it was 99% clothing. I built that business up to where I was doing close to $4,000 a month, and I thought, okay, you know, I'm doing good here. You know, this is I've topped out. But then I started looking into other products. Every department that is in a thrift store has money waiting for you to find. And it's just a matter of, again, researching, learning each department. So I recommend going into a store, even if you are not comfortable with different items yet, different departments, every single time you walk into a thrift store, walk around every single department and keep your eyes open. Start looking for high quality items in different departments. Start looking for things that are unique, things that look different. Look for vintage items. You know, I didn't touch vintage items for a long time. And as I learned more, as I did more research, I started pulling some vintage items out. And now I would say in my clothing side, there's a huge percentage of my items that I sell that are vintage. And you'll find that when it comes to vintage items, there's some really, really good money to be made. I've got a Hawaiian dress that I found, a vintage Hawaiian dress. Okay, so a couple things here. Women's department, didn't touch forever. Took me a while to get there. Dress, never looked at dresses for the longest time. Vintage, didn't look at vintage, but when I started walking through the stores and, you know, start looking for these unique vintage items, I found this dress, okay? It looked old. The print on it was absolutely amazing. Really, really cool. So I paid the $8 for it. It's a dress that I currently have listed for $750. After doing the research on it, I found that it was a 1940s or 50s Hawaiian dress. I found a similar comp that sold for $650, but the one I have is really cool. But it took me a while to walk and keep my eyes open for those different types of things. So, you know, walk through every department, keep your eyes open for different things, and then start researching as you are in these different departments. And eventually, you'll start being more comfortable. You'll start pulling out the things that are, you know, are good, and you'll start making some more money. You know, another item, kind of the last thing I really wanted to go over today is the importance of having a plan. Now, when it comes to having a plan, what I'm talking about is when you're purchasing items, a lot of us love going out and doing the thrifting part of things. You know, it's fun. But then a lot of times we get overwhelmed. We have these big piles and we end up falling behind and we psych ourselves out. If you have a plan, it makes everything a lot easier. Okay, I have a plan every week that I need to get at least 150 items listed. So I need to make sure that I'm buying at least 150 items. You need to know what you are capable of doing. Okay, you look at how many hours you want to work a week, how many hours you can work per week, and you know how many things you can list per week, and then start working those numbers. You know, if you are capable of getting 50 items listed a week, that should be your goal. Finding 50 items and then putting in the time to get those 50 things listed. If you do that, it makes it a lot easier to start expanding and start dreaming a little bit bigger. You know, I was really good at this when I started, and I built my business up very quickly. And then for a while, I stopped doing this, and I stayed, you know, I was growing, but it was growing kind of small. And then I get refocused. I create a plan. I see what I'm doing, and then I make some lists of what I want to accomplish. And as I do that, I start seeing more expansion happening. So having a plan is very important for your business, for you to be able to continue to grow and continue to succeed. Those are kind of the main things I wanted to go over today when it comes to the secret sauce. If you have any questions, please comment. Please feel free to ask. I'm still learning as well. You know, I cleared over 6 figures last year, but I want to get to $250,000. And if you have any suggestions on how to get there, if you're already there, I'd love to hear it. But if you are, you know, somebody that's new, that's making $500 a month or $1,000 a month, or you want to make $500 a month or $1,000 a month, all the way up to $10,000, I can hopefully help you get there. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm making these videos, to give you some advice and hopefully some encouragement that will help you, you know, reach the goals that you're hoping for. So if you did find anything good in this video, I ask you to please subscribe, and I try to get future content out on a weekly basis, and I'm always looking for ideas. So looking forward to your comments as well. Thanks.